We should have a cold opening like this. We're recording now, but people are going to think I don't know we're recording, even though we are. And a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Hey, everybody, it's time! Crunch time!
I didn't realize this thing was on!
Brian and Cliffy B coming at you. What's up, buddy?
How's it going, man? I'm drinking caffeine again, and I feel good.
What's your caffeine of choice? What do you do?
Well, it was actually a really long story. I'll give you the quick version of it. When I was going back and forth during COVID, and my mother-in-law was declining, I just was staying in various Airbnbs and we'd get food and liquor, but we forgot to get caffeine, and because there wasn't a Starbucks nearby, and I just had like a headache for a week, and I was like, why do I have a headache? And I just kind of, weaned off of decades of caffeine. All of the games that I had created were developed in a caffeine-induced haze. That and Claritin D when I was hungover, by the way. If you're ever hungover, Claritin D, great hangover cure. Bad for the blood pressure, but it gets the job done. And then once, everything like kind of cleared up with everything, I was like, I kind of miss coffee. And now I'll have a cup of coffee that the missus will lovingly make with some collagen in it, which helps keep me fresh and clean. And then occasionally, if I have something else going on like this, I'll have 3/4 of a Red Bull, sugar-free, mind you.
The last quarter gets you hype.
I'm not like pounding it and crushing it in my forehead like back in the day. But I'm older here. I got to look out for the blood pressure.
You don't look 70. You look good for 70. So I will say.
I'm moisturized, but whatever I get up my ass is killing me.
Right. Everybody, thanks for joining us and listening on the last. This is our 7th episode. We're eighth technically because we had episode 0.
I'm hyped because I made $70 today on Cameo.com.
I think I might join Cameo.
Dude, you should do
I'll
it.
Charge $5. For those of you who don't know,
Brian's famous for this VO.
Well, a lot of VO, but people know me for the Robotusk.
Many VOs, but this one in particular is your. Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you say it? Say it.
I guess I can. I mean, mind if I root through your trash? That's the big line at the end of the commercial that people love. But
you have that deep New York kind of voice, right?
Yeah. Hey, lady, let me go through your trash.
I'm walking here.
Yeah. I'm excited for our guest today, as I assume you are.
Yes, he's a dear friend of ours.
Great. Yeah.
He's a very talented guy, and he knows his shit.
We're going to get into how you guys know each other and what he does. Please welcome in Christopher G. Moore, everybody. There we go. What's going on?
I'm kind of disappointed. I thought this was a Taco Bell podcast called Crunch Wrap Time, but luckily.
Dude, I'm so bummed the Taco Bell, about 4 minutes away from our house, shut down.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's
on one hand, I'm like, oh, I love Taco Bell. On the other hand, it was like, was it just because you were drinking too much?
I was gonna say that was your late night hangover meal. That was like what you got on the way home. But I'm surprised. Has any Taco Bell shut down the last 40 years? Like, what happened? Those usually are pretty long lasting.
Taco Bell was hanging on with the prices too. It was staying really, really cheap.
Not really, because I got it like 3 months ago, and I was like, I just paid $16 for myself. It used to be like, well, I got a lot. It used to be just like $6.
Well, you're leaving out variables there, Brian.
Well, if you use the app, you can figure out ways to. There's like a $5 combo just on the app alone. So all these people acting like, oh, it's so expensive. Use the freaking app. That's why I go to there.
But listen,
I went there for lunch today.
I'm a giant person. One $5 combo meal is not enough to satisfy.
Well, I've
this body.
Yeah, that's understandable. You have a high metabolism.
Sure, or just non-existent anymore. I think.
I was just saying just a second ago that Chris's mic just looks like a space heater to me. What brand is that?
Like, careful! Don't burn your flips off.
I'm like looking at it, wanting to may I have some more porridge, sir?
Yeah. What do you got there? I got a Sennheiser 416 mic. What do you got there, Chris?
It's HyperX.
HyperX. Mad Cats. Cliff has a Mad Cats microphone.
No, it's a Yeti, I think.
Yetis are fine. Yetis,
I guess.
Yeah.
I used to have a Yeti.
Yeah, I still have one somewhere. Yeah,
because I used to do. I was part of a horror podcast for about 10 years. For the Gruesome magazine, so I kind of upgraded over the years to the one I have now.
Let's get into horror stuff because I am like I'm all about the sound effects today. I do not like horror. I'm scared of horror. If there's any way for me to not watch horror, I'm going to use that excuse. And I wanted to ask you, and I know Cliff likes it too. What what gets somebody into horror versus just a comedy or a straight up drama or just a regular old movie? What draws you? Chris, you can start. What draws you to, like, if you have a choice of movies, you're going to go horror. What draws someone to that versus, like, why do you want to be scared versus just relaxed and laugh? Go.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think it's like a lot of different genres. It can be subjective, because you're going to run into a lot of people who their definition of what horror is different than mine. You know, some people think that some people think that, oh, it's only a horror film if it scares you. You know, that they think horror comedies don't fit. Like there's a guy, I go to Dragon Con every year in Atlanta, a huge multi-genre convention. And there's a guy having an argument every time. He's like, Silence of the Lambs is not a horror film. I was like, you literally have a guy who wears somebody's skin. You have a cannibal. So it's much harder. But he's like, if there's a detective and it involves like a detective trying to figure out some mystery, then it's not a horror film, which is just ridiculous.
Well, he thinks like a psychological thriller. Is that like?
Yeah. Well, I think you find that around like Oscars time, where they try to figure out some other genre they can throw it into if if it's of quality level.
Drama, suspense.
Yeah. But I think seeing that you guys are big into comedy stuff. I mean, horror is probably the closest aligned to comedy, because they both elicit some reaction when you watch it. You know, you go to a comedy and you laugh. You go to a horror film and you might scream. So they're both similar in that effect, which is probably why a lot of comedy directors end up being very good at horror, because they've already sort of figured out how to elicit any kind of reaction from an audience.
George Peele, the guy who's doing Resident Evil, right? They do,
yeah. But I think when it comes to me, to be honest, in real life, I'm the biggest scaredy cat.
That's so funny.
Like Amanda made fun. My friend Amanda, who was a producer on Back of Creep, and she's worked with me on a few other projects. She made fun of me because, like, I think the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I started watching it and I got too creeped out by the satanic stuff. and it's weird. Like, I would do that, because like the Exorcist, I can't watch because I get nightmares from it. But I think you just go to it in the same way people eat hot stuff. They just want to feel something, and you go to a horror film and you feel like it's gonna, it elicits that reaction. So it's much more so than just going to see a drama or
Dude, going to see Obsession with our friend Stephanie, and she was seated next to me, and I knew of the car scene, and I saw it coming a mile away, and the suspense in that scene was palatable, and her reaction was just amazing. Like, she just nearly jumped out of the theater, and it was such a great, brutal scene, which was prefaced by that, really, really sweet interaction in the car. And I don't know, Stephen King had that quote that, he had mentioned, like, once you get that first scare, it's the joke is, it's like, heroin. The first high is always the best, and you spend the rest of your life trying to chase after that feeling. And it's in horror, as you obviously know, Chris, there's so many different types of horror. There's the suspense horror, there's the gore horror, there's, jump scares and everything in between, right?
The two movies I want to talk about. You mentioned Exorcist, I think, is just the scariest effing thing that has ever been made. I think it's terrifying, horrifying. Any like October 3rd or 4th, when all like the commercials, like, it's Halloween month,
it's spooky season.
Yeah, they always show Reagan, like, one picture, even a split second. I'm like, no, my whole fucking month is ruined now because I saw her. Just seeing her face ruins the rest of my month. I can't get it out of my head. But also something like, I don't know if you guys have seen this, Fire in the Sky. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, it totally holds up.
Yeah,
that's amazing. But that last 10 minutes is terrifying as shit. But I can watch that. So what's wrong with me? Or what? Explain that if there is an explanation, because I don't know.
Well, again, it is all subjective
because they're both real. Aliens and Satan is real. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, but the stories are still, they add a little bit more probably than what actually happened. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird because like there's like one of the horror podcasts I follow. The one person, they finally showed their kids Exorcist, and they were like, "What's the deal with this?" So I don't know if it's one of those things to where like if a certain growing up a certain way or certain generations that affects, and then somehow, I don't know, maybe the new kids today are like, they've seen it all, and so they're not.
I'll never forget. There was a time I must have been like 6, 7 years old, and my godparents were babysitting me. They rented like a spot at the beach, and it was late night, and they were showing the classic black and white Frankenstein. And I was watching this, and like I wasn't scared, I wasn't freaked out, because around that age I had 80s horror on in the background that my brothers had put on, and I was used to that level of fear and whatnot. And as part of it's, you know, how you can get like desensitized to things. And, you know, it's also for me tying into, I love the sense of dread, you know, like rewatching The Shining and the entire sense of dread the entire time during that movie. It's the shortest and longest 3 hours of your entire life, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. But when I remember that one time in The Exorcist when like they're downstairs and they hear Reagan, like she just goes, it's like a long groan moan. I remember when I took a date in college to go see like when they re-released it for some dumb reason, and I started bursting out laughing because I think I went so far scared. I went back to funny because my brain couldn't process how scared I was. So I just started laughing out loud in the theater, even though I had to like cover my eyes. I was so scared. And this girl's like, "Who's this pussy?" You know, we didn't date again, but it was like, I couldn't believe that just that sound. They didn't even show her. Just hearing that, I was like, they nailed this. This is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. That's how.
Well, and I think I do love that kind of reaction that some of us have, almost like it's almost like shock humor at some point.
Yeah, I couldn't
have
control
certain things you're watching.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain films that just get so kind of gory and gross. Like Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I remember seeing in the theater, and there was parts I started laughing. I was like, "Oh no, no, let's not pull that toenail off."
Yeah, and the dentures. You got to love the dentures.
Yeah. So there's certain or like just certain things that, and I'm also a huge. My favorite subgenre is horror comedy, of course, and so because Evil Dead 2 is like my overall favorite horror film ever.
What else is there? Like Shaun of the Dead, things like that.
I love Shaun of the Dead. Yeah. I love Dead Alive, which has a lot of gore, but it's so over the top. It just becomes funny at some point.
How about Vampire in Brooklyn? Is that on your list?
I love Wes Craven. That's definitely not one of his. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's definitely. I mean, right? Well, yeah. His career was kind of fell off a little bit. Eddie Murphy's career kind of fell off after that, but for a little bit, yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's so. I think is like when it comes to horror. I think the house I grew up in was across from a cemetery. And the bedroom.
Oh, it's all making sense now.
Yeah, and my brother and I, we shared a bedroom for a little while. We had a bunk bed, and I was the top bunk bed. And when I looked out the window, I could see the cemetery. And I swear, growing up, I saw something floating across the thing. And so I've always had this kind of curiosity, but also I don't want to know too much. Like I had a friend of mine, my friend of mine knows I love Stranger Things, and so they gave me a Stranger Things Ouija board, and I was like, "Oh, thank you," and I kept it near the door. I refused to bring.
This will stay wrapped.
Like, I told him, I was like, I hate to say this, I take it back. I have enough bad luck as it is in general, so I don't need any to open some portal in my house.
Yeah, there's certain stuff like that I ain't fucking with. It's, you know, we were walking out of Obsession, and we went with our friend Jenna, who's a character. And she's like, "Yeah, that's why I don't fuck with those love spells." And I'm like, I'm not messing with any of that stuff. You know, it's plenty entertaining in a film. But just real quick, going back to that sense of dread, one of the movies that totally fucked me up for a while was Hereditary. That movie had such an incredible sense of dread and foreboding in it. And yeah, it paid off with some really screwed up stuff, but the classic, like my favorite scares are the ones where, you know, you see a character just kind of sitting there, and I'm a very observant person. There's a scene in The Burrows where the main guy rolls up to a storage facility, and the sign for the storage facility, they have the logo, and you realize, I'm like, "Oh, hey, did you notice, Lauren? That's the same font as the Stranger Things logo, because the Duffer Brothers produced it." And just, you know, I'm always looking in the background, and I always love when you see something that's just slightly off. That's why, you know, Insidious had a lot of that really those cool elements. That scene where they think they're free of whatever entity is haunting them and the child, and then the mother, Rose Byrne, who I think is amazing, is going through the house with the laundry, and it's that one tracking shot, and if you pay attention to the shot, there's the little ghost of the boy in the little sailor outfit, like with his head against the wall. And then, eventually Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim starts playing, and she looks in the room and he sees the ghost dancing, and it's just chef's kiss, amazingly well done, in my opinion.
My wife claims, and she swears, that her house was haunted growing up, and like there are times where like the Christmas tree would just start shaking, like I don't know, no one was there doing.
You sure it wasn't a cat?
I swear to God, it was the cabinets would open, like shit like that, and like I kind of believe in that shit a little, Do you believe in ghosts like that? And you said you saw something, Chris, like in the cemetery. Do you believe in stuff like that?
I do. I do, and I think growing up Southern Baptist, it kind of scared certain things into you. And it's funny because like when it comes to Ouija boards, when I was in college, I took a film class, and the professor's like, he's like, every time I do this film class, I tell the story of, the Ouija board story. And he told this story about him and his friends were doing a Ouija board, and they started doing it. And they said, I'm right outside your window, and a rock hit the window. And then like I had a movie theater. I managed a movie theater for about 2 years in Dunn, North Carolina, which is almost like a rest stop. It's not even a town. And they supposedly had done a Ouija board in the box office on Halloween night. And the Ouija board said, it's going to break, and the film broke. So I have all these people that have stories and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had stuff, that I think might be stuff, but I always think I just have an overactive imagination.
Right.
I always tell this funny story. If I ever did stand up, I would probably tell it where I was when I lived in an apartment. I was sleeping one night, and I hear this voice saying, "I'll be your best friend." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I wake up. I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm just dreaming." I go to sleep, and I was like, "I'll be your best friend." I was like, oh. So I turned the light on. I'm like looking around. I was like, either I'm schizophrenic or there's a ghost in my house. And then I like stood there, like where you just listen, and I'm like, I'll be your best. And it's coming from the corner of the room. And I go through and pour through stuff. It was a Woody doll from Toy Story that the string had like messed up to where it would go in slow, and it would create this, like, it sounded this creepy voice because it was going like, I'll be your best friend,
We would always mess with those, like that thing that we would rotate.
Yeah. It's just funny how, like, the only experiences I've had have mostly been things where I just feel like an idiot.
Like your Teddy Ruxpin's running out of batteries. Like, please play with me.
Put your NWA tape in your Teddy Ruxpin and see, watch him bust out straight out of Compton.
I still have my my Alf doll where you can put the cassettes in the back, and he'll read you a bedtime story from one.
I didn't know they made one.
Hell yeah, man.
This shows you how old I am. There was a toy back in the day. It looked like a robot, and it came with these. It's basically the what's it called? What's the tapes that they used to play music on? The
8-track.
8-track, yeah. It took 8-track tapes, and it had buttons so that would ask you questions, and you'd press A, B, C, or D. But you could put regular 8-track tapes into it, so you could have the robot like almost like a little mini DJ.
I love that.
Yeah, 8-tracks were terrible because you'd play it and like you couldn't rewind it. That was like part of the shtick. Like,
now you're showing your age. I never had an 8-track. Oh, my parents had.
It was my older brother's. Damn it.
Sure. Yeah. Let's get into a couple more movie stuff. I'm
gonna go see Toy Story 5 this weekend.
Are you? See, okay. Here's the thing with this. People started freaking out of the last like 3 Toy Stories, including this one. I feel like a little too much. Like adults were going crazy for this Toy Story. I thought it was for kids. I don't really go see quote unquote kids movies without my kids, but people love. I mean, I didn't really get into the Toy Story 1 and 2 as a kid for some reason, or maybe I was like, I don't know when the first one came out. I was probably like 15. Maybe that's
95.
90. Okay, so exactly, I was 15.
Because I managed a movie theater when it came out.
Right. So I know most things from 1999 because I worked at Tower Records in '99. So I know all the music, Backstreet, Britney, Chris, all that stuff was like in my brain. But Toy Story, is it a big? I don't know if it's such. I don't know why. I don't know that it's that big of a deal.
I think what you have right now is an entire generation of parents that now have kids that are like, iPad kids.
What's your excuse? Why are you going to see it?
Because Woody got a gut and he's balding, so I identify with that.
We can relate finally. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you look like a bouncer. I just look weird. But yeah, the thing is I think tapping into the whole like the iPad is now the enemy, and what's heaven forbid the kids actually have some imagination, and now they're just glued to their screens, and I think that's and anytime I go into public and I see somebody with some kids at a restaurant, the kids are with crayons or doing something that doesn't involve a screen. As much as I love my glowing rectangles as much as the next person, and I live on them and our wearables and all that stuff, you got to know when to disconnect and when to not stare at a goddamn screen. Yeah, and sometimes I think that's going to be the lesson.
Yeah, sometimes you can't help it as a parent, and I feel bad too sometimes, but sometimes I'd rather that versus my kids screaming in a restaurant. But I get it. Yeah.
You don't want to be that dad.
Yeah, I get it. Your farting chair is extra farty today.
Is it coming? Do I need to buy a new fucking chair? I had a really pricey.
Are you trying to get promoted by Taco Bell?
No. Come back. I want my Doritos Locos Tacos.
Chris, are you a Toy Story guy, or do you want to see them make a horror Toy Story version? Like they do like Winnie the Pooh?
They kind of did with the first one. Because you have like the kid, was it Spike or whatever, that had all the creepy toys.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. It's for me it's kind of weird because I managed a movie theater when it came out. And so I'm kind of slightly connected to it. I think it is. You keep thinking that newer generations will like sort of fall out of favor of it, but because it involves play and that kind of thing, and I think with each, even though it's considered, quote unquote, like a kid's film, it has a lot of adult themes in it.
Sure.
And I think each of them, even the third one, dealt with a lot of like with death and that kind of thing, or not being appreciated. So everything, and I think each thing they kind of go into things to where both kids and adults can appreciate. And so I think with the new one, I think it is tapping into that much more so, because I, like you were talking about, like my niece, that she's obsessed with iPads and phones and that kind of thing. So it's kind of weird how we grew up having to find our own fun outside. They just tell you go outside and have fun.
And light fires in the woods. But I think when it's a kid's movie, it comes down. It's a good movie when it appeals to both kids and adults. And the jokes that I've always loved that go right over the kids' heads. Those are often the best ones. But I want to see how good the rendering quality's gotten. I want to see, apparently Jessie, her story really kind of comes full circle, because the whole bit that she did, I think it was in Toy Story 2, where they have the Sarah McLachlan song, and she's talking about how she was abandoned by her owner as her owner kind of grew up and ditched her and left her behind. And, that scene brought me to tears. And, Pixar, when they're swinging for the fences, the opening of Up, it just destroys me. And I like feeling something when I go to be entertained and spend my hard-earned money.
I get that.
Well, you think they're going to run out of ideas and stuff, and the one where they talked about collectors and how they don't play with the toys, so it's like, it's kind of interesting how because you think in Toy Story 5 what they can do now, and they always seem to find some way to get back to it. And there's a lot of good buzz coming out about in this fifth iteration.
Well, in regards to the whole like collector thing, that was also kind of a sub theme of the Lego movie, right? And it's just going back to the you should be able to just take it. You don't always have to go by what Lego suggests you build whatever the fuck you want to. And it was the Lego movie should not have worked, and it worked like amazingly well. Everything is awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of the kids and parents enjoying it, if this does better than Masters of the Universe, I'll be so mad. If Toy Story beats He-Man at the box office, it's probably gonna do like $10 billion more.
It's already kind of broken the record.
It probably
preview. So I
think didn't even come out as it's probably, unfortunately. Damn it.
It's okay.
I walked out of He-Man. I told you guys, I was like, that's exactly what I expected. I was entertained for what it was, but I think it's some IPs have transcended generations. And I think when the main dude who played He-Man only knew He-Man from that meme, I said, hey, yay, right? That's a sign of like, it was like postmodern, like kind of goofy, ironic kind of. That's the only thing he knew it from, as opposed to Michael Bay, for better or for worse, who kept Transformers in the zeitgeist. I would wager for the worst, but
Turtles hasn't stopped either, really. Like Turtles has been reinvented 8 different times.
But I mean, you look at the accordion of the way turtles have been treated. It's a lot like Batman, where you have everything from Lego Batman and you know the super kitty Batman all the way through Nolan's Dark Knight, and turtles have been treated all the way from Eastman and Laird's original black and white hardcore series all the way through to the cartoon in the 80s, 90s, and then through to the, you know, the puppet suits, and then everything all the way, you know, as much as, you know, you are mind blown about Last Ronin, and I'm excited because I read it and enjoyed it. And I think, you know, yeah, you want to have that accordion of your IP, in my opinion.
Yeah. One thing that I always get yelled at by friends who are movie buffs, and Chris, you are like the ultimate movie buff. Chris, Cliff, you're a huge movie buff. Is I don't know specific directors of movies. I get yelled at by friends. They're just like, "What do you mean? It's this guy who did this, who did." I'm like, "Oh, okay," but I can never tell you a movie and their director. Obviously, a couple of main ones I can do, but that never was really important to me until I know I'm an asshole for not knowing who directed this movie, whatever movie.
I'm just saying, Brian, as a VO actor, you might want to.
I know
on that.
I know. I have to know. I do look things up now, but it was never. It was never like
this is a read for Francis Coppola. Is that Coppola? Italian food?
Is he here? Yeah, like things like that. Like I never really cared, but now it's like someone. But after the movie's done, and I'll see directed by this guy. Oh, what else did he do? I'll look up like, oh, it's like my favorite movie. Okay, like then I'll put it together. Like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Why I enjoyed this one too. But I don't know what that is. Why it doesn't really click me.
I immediately jumped to IMDb.com.
I know.
Was like, you know, and then I'm like, Lauren, you don't know who that was. It's like, you know, we just finished The Burrows last night.
I didn't start it.
It's kind of like Cocoon meets Stranger Things. Alfred Molina is the main guy, you know, Doc Ock. And Gina Davis is in it, and she still is great, beautiful, great actress. And I didn't put two and two. She's 70 fucking years old, dude.
Wow. And
she still doesn't look a day over 35 or 40. Like she still
just a long time ago,
dude. That's the thing is like, I'm thinking about, you know, my wife's like, wow, you know, she looks great. I'm like, yeah, Gina Davis does look great. And she's like, who? I'm like, Gina Davis. I'm like, honey, Gina fucking Davis. I'm like, The Long Kiss Goodnight, directed by Lenny Harlan, who she later wound up marrying. And Lauren's like, stop, you fucking nerd. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Cutthroat Island.
Yeah, that too, right? And like she has such unique features that she just has such a full mouth that like the entire like cinema is just her lips just the entire time, you know. But The Burrows though it was pretty good.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say it was amazing. It was no Widow's Bay. That's right. I went there.
I just finished it, but I think we both, I've both felt they didn't stick the landing that good. Chris, did you watch Widow's Bay yet on Apple TV?
I've been meaning to get around to watch it because I was kind of interested. I like the idea of it.
It's really good. Cliff, did you think they stuck the landing or no on the
I thought, you know, they just wanted to leave it open for more.
Yeah. I don't want that.
I mean, it's because
I'm dumb. Like, finish it for me. That's why I'm always like, tell me exactly what happened. That's what I want to know. I don't want to be like, huh? What just happened? Like at the end when the credits roll, I'm like, wait, what happened? Like,
did you watch episode 4 with Patricia where she finds the mysterious book, the one called Beach Reading?
Yeah, I watched it all. Yeah,
and she throws the party and everything like that. That could have been an episode of Amazing Stories or Creep Show, and I love those kinds of like one-off stories, you know. And that's one thing, you know.
She was great, Patricia, by the way. She was
she completely steals the entire series, in my opinion. You know, when the main guy's meeting up with the founder guy who's been resurrected, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll leave you guys to yourselves." And then she pops back in. She's like, "Oh, I forgot my purse."
Yeah.
And that blend of horror and comedy, right?
And that guy, the dead guy, that was the guy from The Boys, right? Not Vaught, but or was it Vaught? Or he was in The Boys?
No, he was the preacher from Midnight Mass.
No, I'm sorry, maybe Gen V. Maybe Gen V. He was in Gen V, I think. He was.
I think he is. Yeah,
he was in that.
A spinoff show.
His name's Hamish something or other.
Yeah, what a name.
He's just a great actor, but I don't know. I thought I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think, you know, Apple TV is on HBO's.
Widow's Bay is one of the best TV shows I've seen in a very long time.
So you have seen it. You did watch it.
Oh, I thought you guys were talking about Burrows.
Oh, I shifted over to Widow's Bay.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I did watch Widow's Bay. I absolutely loved it, and I think it's one of those few properties that kind of does a great job of walking that thin line between horror, being funny, and being scary. And again, it's one of those things to where if you look at the person that created Katie Dippold, she got her start going. She worked on Mad TV. She wrote films like the Heat. She wrote the female Ghostbusters. She did Snatched. And so she has, a pretty good career in writing comedy stuff. And even like one of the episodes actually was written by, was it Neil Casey, who's actually the guy who owns the Inn. He's a comedian that's
the weird looking square.
Yeah. He's written on Saturday Night Live. He's
funny.
He's an improviser.
Yep.
And also, did you see that one episode was directed by Ty West?
Oh yeah. From what do you call it?
Pearl, Maxine and Pearl and X. So yeah, it's one of those things to where, and I think for me, it also just the visual gags alone, because the somebody will do something and the camera will pan, and then there'll be a joke on that. I think you, Cliff, you had mentioned episode 8, which is the serial killer one, and I laughed so hard. The ending of that laugh.
Fucking so finally. So for those of you who don't, Chris is really big on like the unstoppable killer who walks all the time. And this is the penuptial episode.
And the way that ends, I laughed so loud because of the bit of her and the gun. Yeah. I was so freaking funny that I think most horror films need, if that happened, they wouldn't be able to have sequels normally. But there's so many moments like that. And there's also moments of just weird stuff, like when they're in the shelter and there's like posters for how to fight someone, or like, what, this is what you do for a dog bite. This is what you do for a human bite. It's like, human bites, what?
Yeah.
So it's one of those shows that has that kind of quirkiness of like Twin Peaks. It has a little bit of Lost, has a little bit of X-Files, has an element, a pinch of Stephen King. It has all these great things in it. And it just, the dialogue, I was watching, I was like, man, I need to work on my dialogue, because just there's some moments of dialogue and also just the acting and stuff and how they deliver that dialogue. Because even the flashback one with directed by Ty West, the actress that was in the wrestling show, she's in it, and her delivery on things is so freaking funny.
She was in Glow, right? Yeah, that was her.
Oh, yeah, she was in Glow, which I love. Glow.
We didn't. My wife's like, who is she? Who the fuck is she? And then me the next day to IMDb, and I'm looking up. I'm like, oh, she was the pretty blonde that you one episode you liked in Glow, the next episode you hated, blah 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 blah. And that's just a sign of a good actor or actress, where you're like, wait, I don't recognize that person. Same thing with Hamish. I'm like watching him and I'm recognizing his eyes. Because Midnight Mass is one of my favorite TV series like ever. It was fucking phenomenal. Mike Flanagan could do no wrong. Cannot wait for his take on Carrie. And then I was like, I knew it was him because, his voice on Midnight Mass was the preacher who wanted to believe everybody, have faith. And then when he's playing, the guy who founded the town, looking like that Rob Zombie thing, he's gonna,
right?
It was just great range. And then when they lock him up in the sarcophagus casket, and he's just like, "Let me, are you still in the room? Let me out here. What the fuck?"
I wouldn't call that a horror show, but I could watch stuff like that. Even though I had a couple of like moments that could have scared you. Like they mix it well with the funny, so something funny is gonna come to calm you down in a few minutes.
That's the thing. And you were talking about earlier, Cliff, about how like you're looking for things on the screen. There's certain things where there's stuff happening within the frame, and like when the hag is in the road and you see her run by the side of the car and stuff and things like that. I think they do so. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're kind of creeped out. It's like, oh crap, he's being attacked by this hag, and then she's like, and then when he tells earlier about like she'll sit on your face, she starts to sit on his face. Like, oh god, this is how this plays out. So it's like you take those kind of normal myths and you add some kind of weird aspect to it. Like what? Like when they tell like when the guy's introducing the girls and he's like, yeah, she lost a finger to a wheelbarrow wheel or something like that. Just little funny things that pieces of dialogue that kind of throw you off in the same way some kind of weird thing would throw you off. Steven
Root's just great. Like, it's
awesome.
Seeing him in more and more stuff. Just amazing.
Speaking of sitting on a face, I just saw Linda Cardellini was on like Seth Meyers or Fallon or something, and she said how the very first scene she filmed on DTF St. Louis with Jason Bateman was the scene where she was sitting on his face. And that was like the first time they really met And I was like, well, isn't that a nice, how do you do? They said, like, that's pretty,
Wow.
not a bad first day of work having Linda Cardellini sit on your face. But not bad.
Well, I'm sure there's certain measures they do to make sure there's.
Sure, they put like a cloth.
They have an intimacy manager.
Right. Yeah. Chris, let's talk about stuff you've done. You've done some cool shit. Now, you say you're a scaredy cat in real life, but you like producing and writing horror flicks. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us some cool shit you've done.
Well, I mean,
or how'd you even get into doing that in the first place? Like, what?
Well,
made you,
I mean,
like,
you were talking about earlier about, like, you didn't know, like, directors and stuff. When I was growing up, I was like the normal sort of hormonal kid where I had posters of hot girls on my my walls, but also I was like reading articles. Yeah. Like I was reading articles on like movies and stuff and how this was made. Like when Star Wars was a big influence on me growing up. So when I still have the VHS tape of the making of Empire Strikes Back, and so you learn aspects of that, and you learn, oh, this director did this or that. And so I've just always been obsessed with it. I'd watch all kind of special features and on DVDs and that kind of thing, learning how to do stuff, because I've never actually been to film school. I've taken film classes. I took a playwriting class, stage directing class when I was in college, because that was all I could do because I went to Clemson University. But I've always had intrigued by it, and I've always done like little videos and stuff. I didn't really take it seriously until like I think 2003. There was a KFC popcorn chicken. Their item came out, and they had a commercial contest, and I submitted it, and I won third place and won like $5,000 or something.
That's
awesome. No shit. I've known you this long. This is the first time you're telling me this.
Tell us about the commercial if you could.
Yeah. We opened.
I think they thought I was maybe a teenager because I worked with 2 teenage kids or whatever. But and it was like, if I'm not even sure if I have it, but if you watch it now, it's got really bad special effects.
Sure.
But basically, it's one of those things where these 2 kids are eating popcorn chicken. It's like, watch what I can do, and the one throws it up and throws it in his mouth. It's like, oh, I can throw it even higher. And the third guy's like, oh, watch this, and he winds up and he throws it into space. Nice. It goes back into his mouth, and that was basically the gist of it. Although I did learn that I think it was $6,000 I won. I did learn about like, oh, there's taxes on that.
Yeah,
and I learned that the hard way by the end of the year.
When I won my Wheel of Fortune money, I had to pay a big chunk of, because it's 1099, so I won 14,000. 6 of that was gone with the taxes.
That's crazy, because when I got my first check from Jazz Jackrabbit, it was $5,000, and I went to the mall and tried to spend as much of it as possible, like a total idiot. And then tax time came around.
Oops.
Yeah, I used it as a down payment on a car, and then I realized, oh crap, tax time came and I was screwed. Yeah. But I did like all little things for different organizations. Back when I was more religious, I used to do stuff for the youth group and the singles group and stuff like that. And then around I think it was 2006, I was already part of, I did comedy improv through Comedy Works for about 7 years. Uh-huh. And I decided
right here in Raleigh, right?
Yeah. And there was a John Woo contest. It's funny how these contests bring me out of the woodworks. There was a John Woo contest where you make like a John Woo inspired film. And I had this idea called Hard Stapled, where this guy falls asleep at work and he wakes up, and then basically people are coming after him. They're using staple guns, and instead of knives, they're using letter openers and stuff like that. And it was all jokes, but it was also throwing in bits involved with John Woo films and stuff.
Yeah, but I would still watch that.
Yeah. I'll send you a link. It's very small because I don't think I've ever upgraded it. But there's a scene where the guy chases after him and he finds a big wheel, and the other guy finds a big wheel, and it's me like doing the parody of Mission Impossible 3 that John directed or whatever, where they're coming at each other with the cars and stuff. And
great.
Because I know there's a scene in the Mission Impossible where he kicks sand and the gun pops up, which is not physically possible. So I played off of that, and it was kind of fun. I even found a guy that you hire for weddings that releases doves, and I was literally trying, and the guy never responded to my messages. So
that was my question. Was his Chekhov's dove?
That's the only thing.
Did you have a friend that had doves? Like,
yeah. So, but I ended up submitting it to my first film festival, got into it, and won my first award on the first film festival.
Look at that.
I won Best Short Comedy.
Hell yeah.
And so that kind of opened me up to like directing more stuff. And the guy I met there, he was co-DP on my next short, and he got his friend to co-DP, a guy that worked on a little show called Miami Vice. So I was like, I made a film called Bursters, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Why do I have a guy that worked on Miami Vice working on my crappy
The original Miami Vice from like the 80s and 90s?
Yeah.
Wow.
He actually shot some.
You mean there are other ones?
Stuff. Well, they're making a new one.
Of course they are.
So little by little, I make more connections and make more stuff, and so I made a film called Foodie, which
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, which one of the producers had backed out on it, and the director, and I heard about it and I responded. It's like, would you be interested in coming on and sort of working with me? And I worked with the writer and helped to adapt it and whittle it down, and that was a cool thing because even though it's too long for a short film, we got into a lot of film festivals, and I actually had the New Yorker called me, got in contact with me and said, "Hey, we want to see your film because we're making a film on cannibal movies." And I was like, "Where do I send it?" And so there's actually an online article from many years ago where my film was mentioned along all these other cannibal movies. And I was like, what is happening here?
Was there a trend of cannibal movies?
You're ahead of your time, considering the
I guess so.
That came out.
Because it's like there's a movie called like Parents and all these other films they kind of listed in there. Little by little.
One was called I Like Fingers. Well, it's a weird title. That's a cannibal movie, right?
Well, that could also be a XXX, but so little by little, I've just tried to keep making films and making a community, work with different peoples, and that's why I like going to like film festivals and conventions, because you make connections with certain people. Because because I actually, there was a movie, the guy that was over the film festival I got into for the first time. He was needing help on his film Southland of the Heart, I think the name of it is, and I was working on it. And he's like, "Hey, you want to be in it?" And I acted in it, whatever. I hope it never shows up anywhere because I played some redneck with his sleeve cut off.
Hell yeah.
I have to see this.
No, hopefully not. And I also learned how you do scenes and you do certain things you never want to do again, because they shot a scene where we had to fall into the Neuse River, and the river was disgusting.
It is.
And I was miserable. And they cut it out. So I've learned how, when you put actors through it, you need to make sure you're gracious towards them. But so the DP on that, he actually has been working on a lot of my films I've done since then. And then, again, making connections. I wrote Backrow Creep was the first time it was an idea I had that I wanted to make my own horror villain, like a female horror villain that if I could build a franchise on it, because growing up, Freddy Krueger was like one of my favorite characters.
He's your hero.
Well, this is probably why I didn't date at all in high school, because I was so obsessed with it. I had my license plate was NITMARE. I had a Freddy hanging from my rearview mirror. I had a corner of my room that was almost like a it had all these Freddy stuff, so it was almost like I was worshing him.
Yeah. Did you have the convertible top with the same pattern as the sweater? Like at the end?
No, but I had a friend that his family would do a haunted, which is funny because they did a haunted house for a church, and they did it out in the woods, and I got to play Freddy Krueger, and so I actually got to be that character. And one of my favorite stories is like, there's a girl this is when I was in high school. There was a girl I went to school with. She was like, "Oh man, Freddy Krueger scares me." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. You should come to this haunted house that my friends are doing." And she came, and there's like a part where they tell the story of Freddy Krueger, and the lights come off, and they do like a strobe light, and I come in, and I go straight in her face, and she faints, and they had to stop the haunted house.
Did she actually fainted?
She actually fainted. She fainted twice actually, because she woke up, and I was like, "Need a hand," and she fell back asleep. And
did you do the voice though?
I did, like, yeah.
Did you really say need a hand?
I did.
Perfect.
It's actually not a joke. And I one of the few times I felt like, oh, I'm such an asshole. But
I would have felt empowered.
I know I felt empowered in that. And so, yeah, that's one of those moments where you actually get to be that character.
You're like, shit, am I actually Freddy Krueger, guys?
Yeah. So it's like, as someone that's grown up reading Fangoria magazine and you know, really obsessed with horror and how they create characters, I really wanted to be able to create my own mythology and stuff. So I created a short film, Back Row Creep, so that I could sell a feature film version of that. And so that you get sort of like there's a big money shot that happens towards the end, which, you know, really throws people off. Some really amazing special effects. Yeah. So it's one of those things I made that to do that. And then we're going to make that in the future. And then I think the last thing I worked on was, I directed a segment for Horse Slave Plans, which is available on streaming services, which is, it's based on a book of different stories involving horror with travel stories. And we adapted a short story from that. Me and my good friend Amanda, and we made that, and that was a lot of fun to do. And I think with anything I do, you realize I wear a lot of my love for things on my sleeve, because there's always references to Star Wars or Evil Dead or Silence of the Lambs. And so about everything I do is always, you know, a love letter to other things that I've grew up enjoying.
I love it.
So I've actually, Facebook advertising has gotten pretty good at showing me like shirts that I actually want. Hence my Nagel Buffy. And there was one Animal Spot where it said, I communicate in pop culture references mostly. This close to buying it.
That's you. That's funny. How'd you two meet? How'd Chris and Cliff, how'd you guys meet originally?
Was it through Amanda or?
Well, I know this. Well, actually, let me say this. The first time I'd ever seen Cliff was I was doing the Improv, because Comedy Works used to be in a different location near downtown Raleigh. And we walked up to, I think, Mojo's, and we were eating. And I remember you sitting in the corner with people or whatever. And I was like, that's Cliffy B. Because I used to watch G4 and all these things. I knew he was like, oh my God, it's the video game icon in the corner. I was too nervous to come up and say anything. But this is the great story here. And this is the nice connection here is I heard they were doing a Britney Spears music video event at Alamo Draft House. And I was like, I'm a huge Britney Spears fan. And so I need to go to this. And so I was asking if anybody else was going or whatever. And I went, and I think my friend Amanda was there. And that's the first time I met Cliff and Lauren was at that event. And that's the first time I met it was at our meet cute as a friendship was us.
It was
our love.
The Britney Spears video dance party.
Yeah.
That's all it was? That's crazy.
Yeah. All they did was show music videos, and people could get up and dance if they want to. And I remember Cliff had the huge snake from, was it Toxic or whatever?
Oh, really? Really?
It was Slave for You. It was from the video.
Slave for You. Sorry.
She had the albino python, and I bought one on Amazon, and I had my Britney shirt on, and I was in front of the entire theater dancing with the python. And
I remember that.
You know, I may have been imbibing a fair amount at that point.
Stop
he looked a little bit more like the wrestler that always had the
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake.
Showing our ages again. But yeah, I mean, Chris and I just, bonded over a mutual love of film, and in particular horror films. And, something comes out, and, I'm always just like, dude, let's go see this. And then so we can both complain about the Alamo Draft House and their stupid QR code bullshit.
Yeah. And I actually, we had a screening for cast and crew, and I remember I invited him and Lauren to that. So, but yeah, it's kind of fun. It's great to have somebody, movie buddy, that we can geek out about stuff, because I think every week we're sending each other trailers or links to something or the other, talking about.
I'm like, oh, this looks really good. I know that director. Or I'll wait for the reviews. Or, oh my God, this is either going to be amazing or terrible. I don't know yet.
I'm gonna start.
Yeah, well, he's more like akin to wanting to watch stuff that Rotten Tomatoes says.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, about 80% of the time, Rotten Tomatoes is right. Yeah.
Well, I think it is all subjective.
Yeah, it is.
For some things.
Chris, you said you geeked out meeting Cliff for the first time. Were you a gamer growing up, or you still are? Like,
I still am. I mean, I am. This is probably showing my age, but I've had about every kind of game system known to man. I mean, I grew up.
I had
one of the
Atari
arcades.
Yeah,
I used to go to the arcades a lot. There was I used to, when I was growing up in high school, that we were near, well, even before that, but we used to go to Myrtle Beach, and there was a place called the Gay Dolph, and they had all these arcades and stuff. But yeah, growing up, my first game system was a Sears Pong game system. So talk about old school,
super OG
that just had like a dial, and
that's 8-track area, yo.
And it would have like hockey, and it was like different versions of the thing bouncing back and forth. But I was the first person. Me and my brother were the first kids on the block to have a Nintendo.
Was that the one where you had to, like, the Sears one, we had to like overlay the cellophane things over the screen?
I remember that, but no, that was,
I don't think you have
that wasn't that one. But I knew there was a thing they had where you just put the stuff on your TV screen to make it look like, now it's baseball. Look, dumb kids, now it's hockey. Like, oh, cool. But it was the exact same game, just with the overlay, which is crazy to think about.
It was all up here.
Nintendo should bring that back. I feel like they would.
Although and I've had all kinds of different. I've had, I used to be a huge Nintendo kid, and then I kind of went to Xbox for a little while, and then went to PlayStation. I actually had. There was I forgot the name of the game system. It was a light gun thing that involved videotapes, and one of the videotapes was Bill Cosby.
Oh,
and you stick this sucker cup that had a light on it, and if you shot certain things on the screen, it would light up if you got it or not. It was like a weird amalgam of VHS. And
I literally just read about, or I watched a video about this yesterday. I think it was like the weirdest things of the 80s, and like they said this one thing. It was the same tape every time. It didn't matter where you shot. It was the same game, but kids didn't know that. But oh fuck, what was it called? It was like the. Oh, I totally forgot, but I literally just watched the video yesterday. It's so funny you had that.
And one of them, I think, and this is back before Bill Cosby was canceled, but it was even one that just involved him and stuff. But yeah, I've had all kinds of things I loved. I mean, I've always been a big fan of. I mean, the sad part is I did go to college for computer science. I wanted to be a programmer. When I was in high school, when our school got the black screen TRS-80 computers, we knew more than the teachers. We actually we created a hangman game for the special ed department. Nice. But instead of a hangman, it was like a rocket ship that would blast off if you didn't get all the
hangman. In hindsight's kind of dark.
But yeah, and I think I've told Cliff this a few times. Cliff has gotten to live the life that I wanted to be, because I wanted to be a video game creator. I wanted to create video games.
We all did, yeah.
And I have like my senior book. I've got like 10 years. Where are you going to be? I'm going to be. I'm going to be a video game. I'm going to own a video game company. I'm going to be married to a supermodel. I'm going to have a Ferrari. All these stupid things.
Fuck, Cliff did all that. God damn it.
I know. Fuck you.
Sorry, it was a Lamborghini, not a Ferrari.
But it is one of those things.
Those Lamborghinis, plural.
Yeah. But I will say, like, I feel like it's going to come full circle at some point, because I know that at some point, either one of my films or some project will come along, which I will be a part of, helping to create a video game, because that'd be the ultimate goal for me. I had like two of my friends. I actually went this, while everybody else was going to sports camps for summer, I actually went to computer camp.
Fuck yeah.
And we actually, I think we came third place in the programming contest, but the people that won were basically, well, with that one, the people that won that contest were basically, they walked off the screen to Revenge of the Nerds. They were just like the quintessential nerd stereotypes. Were like, oh, what the hell?
Pocket protector, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I think if you look at Backward Creep, I think it has a lot of potential. I could see if that blows up, potential Dead by Daylight crossover. And then looking at the other one that you don't want to talk a lot about, but I think the latest trailers look really, really, really promising. I could see that as having a companion game to it, considering that a game aspect is a bit of the plot. Spoiler.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the interesting thing is, when we premiered, the second thing about Backward Creep was when we premiered, it was right before COVID hit. So it kind of, a lot of the film festivals went virtual or went away. So it was really frustrating, because I was so excited about it. But I missed an email, because I have like another email address that they emailed, but someone that was affiliated with the, I forgot the name. It's like a horror app type thing that makes content. I think it's, and so I think Eli Roth was part of it. And they had emailed, was like, hey, we'd like to see about making Backward Creep as part of that thing. And a few years later, the open areas. You ever been to Halloween Horror Nights, Brian? Okay. Well, the open area where they had all their creatures from that app were there, and I that's the thing. I kick myself about is like my Ashiro girl is what we call the villain would have been one of those characters in that if I'd seen that email. But at the same time, also I don't want to sign off my IP just to anybody, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're not just going to do it as a favor, right?
So I'm not. I'm still going to be very particular once we get into a feature version. When we get distribution or rights and stuff, I'm going to be very particular about what we sign off. Because I want to be like the Terrifier dude. I want to be like throwing my name on stuff and like, hey, make this, that, and try to make some money off of it. That's outside of just the release.
Brian, have you watched Terrifier?
No, I can't.
Yeah, I like Brian and I mean, I'm sorry, Chris. Chris and I, Chris, feel free to pipe in regards to your opinion. I've seen almost all of it. I've seen, I think Martyrs is a really fucked up movie, but I love it. The Saw series, etc. But Terrifier for me was, I'm sorry, that was just too much. Like, and I movies like Bone Tomahawk that has a very similar kill. I thought it actually earned that with what they did with Bone Tomahawk. Terrifier, like I got like halfway through some of it, and I'm just like, no, this is too much.
Well, and to be perfectly honest, I didn't really want to watch the first one or any of the films for that matter, because I'm not a big fan of torture porn type stuff. I don't mind gore. Like if you see Dead Alive has some of the gory. There's a baby that crawls through a head. There's all kinds of crazy shit that happens in that. I mean, you need to check it out. I mean, it's hard to believe the guy who did Lord of the Rings did Dead Alive because there's
was that the one where the one zombie like gets impaled on the light fixture and then it's like the whole head's lit up?
Yeah, there's a part where he's trying to feed the zombies and he's stuffing it down and there's a part where a preacher beats somebody with his own arms. I mean, it's so over the top.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Yeah, he uses like a lawnmower and just mows down people. Nice. But sometimes when it comes to just for torture's sake, and I think and again, I'm not going to yuck on somebody's genre. There's a lot of people that are big fans of Terrifier, and I'm proud of. I'm really happy with the fact that an indie film has become so big to where, now you see it on cups and different things. But it's just not my thing. It's where I kind of like the third one, okay, because it goes into more supernatural territory. But yeah, there's scenes where he keeps torturing people over and over and over for like minutes, and it's like, okay, we get it, and it's just not my thing.
Jason killed somebody. Jason was like, boom, spear, done.
Nice and quick.
Yeah, yeah. Granted, I've done some gory stuff on my own films, but I think I like more splat stick was what they call stuff where it's so over the top.
Right.
You don't get really sort of.
You kind of chuckle a little bit at it.
Freaked out by it, but yeah, some of the stuff, or even just like Martyrs and stuff. I've never seen Martyrs because I don't really like home invasion films. That's the thing I don't really like too much. I like The Strangers. I like the first one, but some of that stuff, it gets too But there's people that love the Terrifier stuff. Yeah. But
people are like, you put a chainsaw on a gun. I'm like, yeah, that's the slapstick, over the top. There's blood flying everywhere. It's Evil Dead shit, dude.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like Evil Dead, and I will say, like, I think Evil Dead is probably the one franchise that I think all the films that actually have their merit. It's one of the few franchises that actually done pretty good job with everything you've done. I will say the 2013 kind of reboot, whatever you want to call it, not one of my favorites because it does feel it goes more into the torture category, but it is one of those films I've kind of learned to appreciate a little bit more over time. Because I think when you can walk that fine line, it works for me. But yeah, I'll do gore in my films. I poke people's eyes out. Backward Creep is all about stealing your eyeballs. So
nice.
And again, it's stuff I don't like anything near my eyes. So anything I don't like,
I had a buddy of mine who he couldn't do contact lenses. So like I'd sit here and be like, "Oh, Will, is that bugging you? Chris, is that bugging you right now? Is that bugging you?"
Chris, were you mad at the? I assume yes, at the Nightmare on Elm Street NES game back as a kid since you loved Freddy so much. Did you play that bomb or no?
I did. I mean, I played a few of them, and I think
that first Nintendo one's pretty bad.
Well, any of the ones, and it's funny because I'm one of those idiots that likes to play IP games. I played like the Fester one.
Quest.
Fester's Quest wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad, but I was like, I'm always the
very hard
that plays all the movie. Like I played Goonies 2 on the Atari, and so I've played all the ones that are based on movie IPs because I just like them.
I think Goonies 2 was NES.
There's a weird story because they never made a Goonies 1 Nintendo game. They made a Goonies 2 Nintendo game. I was thinking the movie was gonna come out, but it never did.
And they had like the weapon was like a yo-yo, and like it had like this chiptunes version of Cyndi Lauper's "Good Enough."
Yes,
and I'll never forget the door sounds that.
My
brother was asleep, and I was like playing that on like a Saturday morning after delivering my papers, and he could barely hear the music, and he fucking hates me for it.
I used to rent other game systems because the problem with things like Nintendo and stuff, they would never do like mega horror games. And I think it's one called, was it Slaughterhouse or something? They had Splatterhouse, yeah. So I rented the TurboGrafx system from a video store just so I could play all the bloody games.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they couldn't be too bloody because of the bits and stuff, but
but you were basically like Jason for Splatterhouse, but like a big old like stick and everything.
You were a good guy, Jason, basically. Yeah. You were trying to save the girl.
And it's like not too long ago they came out with these side-scrolling games for Halloween and Evil Dead versus Ash, and I actually bought that to play on my PlayStation. Although I got pissed because it was like I felt like, oh, this is just like the old games. It's too fucking hard because I couldn't get past a certain level. I was like, because I love side-scrollers. I was like, man.
I think Bruce Campbell finally came out and said he's like, I'm just finally done with everything Evil Dead.
Well, he's been talking about like that for a while, and I think now that he found out he has some uncurable cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Shit.
I mean, he says it's you can get treatment for it, but because he had to stop going to a few events so he could deal with it. But yeah, he's always said that for a while because he gets abused in those films because Sam Raimi loves abusing him. Even when he made Evil Dead versus Ash, they were still abusing the crap out of him. But yeah, I mean, but I think it's time to maybe, follow some other heroes, which they've kind of done. Eventually. I think did you hear about, the Evil Dead Wrath, which is coming out next year? Did you hear about that one?
No.
They just announced that it's actually going to be a prequel. It's going to be in 1972, and it's going to be shot like a 70s film. And I was like, I mean, again, that's what I love about the Evil Dead universe. They instead of just trying to, I mean, well, I love it when they can sort of take a property and do something fun with it and different with it instead of just regurgitating the same.
But I feel like that whole like 1977's vibe is just, starting to come back. It's like my old art director, Chris, who got all that Fortnite money and then he fucked off to Florida and now he wants to make horror films. That's the era. Like 1977 was such a pinnacled year for him. And that's the kind of stuff that he wants to make right now. And he's working on some really, really promising stuff.
Well, look at all the retro video games that have that retro aesthetic. That's like a thing. People like that now. It could be similar idea.
I think we're all kind of tired of the Netflix look when it comes to movies these days, where it's too overly well lit, it's too clear and pristine. We need some kind of grit in the camera lens, and I think that's why we're kind of going back to your retro type stuff. And I know that
vinyl, same thing with a vinyl sound, a record sound. You want that. You don't want it to be perfect. You want the.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the thing about the thing about the niece. The kid's 15 and she swears by vinyl. Like everything is vinyl for her. She's like, it just sounds so much better, Nanny. I'm like, cool. You go, girl.
Well, that's when you go back and look at films that tell different, similar stories of films that come out today, why they feel so different. They feel more lived in. They feel more sort of impactful. Because I think sometimes when you get because now that we have video screens and different things, it takes away the quality of the images. Sure. It kind of takes you out of it's too plasticky to be able to tell your story these days without, I think that's why, you had to be a little bit more specific in how you lit things back in the day, especially when they shot on film. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to do that. I know that my Atlanta filmmaker friends, we have an idea for doing a 70s based horror film that takes place in Atlanta, that hopefully after this project we're working on right now, we'll hopefully do that in the future. So yeah. But yeah.
Keep moving, dude. And that's as Kanye said, does anybody make real shit anymore?
Oh, Please don't quote Kanye.
My favorite hat says "Make Kanye 2006 again."
I never liked Kanye.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chris, what's your favorite movie snack?
Probably Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, nice.
I'm a big peanut butter boy.
Top 3 for me. Cliff, what do you like? You like sushi or something, right? You like having a nice plate of appetizers.
Yeah, and I like to have a virgin lay in front of me, and I eat it during the film, so it gets slightly heated with a little Bath and Body Works on her too.
She's not a virgin. Take her away.
Exactly. No, just a good old fashioned popcorn, but the menu's a little bit limited at the Alamo Draft House, so I basically just we're gonna go see the movie this time. Guess I'm getting a hot dog. So it's not a bad hot dog, but it's not exactly health food.
I'm big on the big soft hot pretzels lately.
Oh, those are good.
And a Bunch of Crunch. The Nestle Bunch of Crunch is a good one for a movie.
Yeah, I'm all about cookies these days. Like I love those Oreos, those golden ones that are basically vanilla, but that shit is delicious.
Yes. Chris, let's plug something. You have first of all, you're on Twitter and Instagram at I Like Films. How'd you get that, by the way? I like film.
Because I'm old.
Because nobody else did.
No underscore, no letters, no numbers.
I think. Well, the only thing that I couldn't get that somebody kind of got before me was YouTube, films. And that pisses me off. But but I have everything else. Like a TikTok, all this stuff is under I Like Films, and I actually own ilikefilms.com. So, which is my main site, which I've just upgraded recently for all my projects and to pimp myself. The
upcoming drive-in in Pennsylvania on September 12th.
Yeah, well, there's been a feature film that we've been working on the last 2 years. We shot it, the majority of it in Greenville, Pennsylvania, and it's called Mr. X. It's directed by Tony Reams, and it's written by my awesome filmmaker friend Vanessa Ionta Wright, who recently got a tumor removed from her head, and she's recovering from that. So, Godspeed to her. She's doing amazing.
But what's she like? Guys, film this for the show, just in case. They want
she's actually making a documentary about the whole journey, and so and I might pop up into it because we sent some video stuff to her to cheer her up, and I did some kind of stuff that was basically Zucker Brothers and Quentin Tarantino type stuff. But anyway, yeah, she wrote it, and it's basically almost like a slasher-esque. It's got a little bit of John Hughes. It's a horror film about this killer, and these people get this invitation to do a game, and if they don't, people could die. We shot it in Greenville, Pennsylvania. And we have an upcoming sneak peek of it on it's called the Super Duper Scary But Fun Drive-In Extravaganza, and it's at the Reynolds Drive-In Theater in Greenville, Pennsylvania. It's on September 12th at 4 p.m. and it's going to feature helping with that. It's going to feature Bob Briggs and Darcy the Mail Girl. For those people that watch Shudder, you probably know him from The Last Drive-In. He also used to have a show, I think, on USA back in the day. That he used to do, so that's what people know him from. They both have parts in it. So yeah, that event's going to be pretty cool, and we're actually going to be a double feature because we're working, I think, with the guy who did Night of the Living Dead, his charity organization. They're going to do like a double feature with one of his films, and they're also going to. There's some, I guess. They had a film school type thing they did with local students that they're going to show some of their trailers from their stuff on the big screen as well. There's going to be bands. We're going to be selling merch and all kinds of different things. So it's going to be very exciting. I know that we're still in the process. We're about 90-something% finished on it. I just watched a new cut of it last night. And so we're really excited. We're going to be submitting it to the film festival. So hopefully once we get into that, we'll be announcing some of the film festival dates. But yeah, awesome. I'm really proud of it as a producer on it. And it's been a really fun ride, and I can't wait for people to see it.
Mr. X. We'll keep an eye out for it, folks, coming this fall, maybe somewhere to a film festival near you. Very cool. Chris Moore, thank you so much for joining us today, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming, dude.
I appreciate you inviting me.
Cliff, any cliffhangers before we go?
Looking forward to Toy Story 5, and I still think Toy Story 3 should have ended with all of them going into the giant incinerator and then wind up being recycled as party cups as Andy's in college getting fucked up playing beer pong.
You need to make your own, and make that happen. I think
cool.
That's the way to go with that. Fanfic Toy Story 6.
Exactly.
The Reckoning. Yeah.
Cool.
Everybody, thanks for listening and joining us here on Crunch Time with Brian and Cliffy B. And please tune in next week, folks. Tell your friends, tell everybody. Bye-bye.
Yay.